Today's cryptic crossword clue is Christmas song becoming useful for revolving music player. And I almost didn't choose this clue for Minute Cryptic. In fact, it kind of sat on the backlog for a while. And the reason that I didn't choose it was not because I thought it wasn't good or because it wasn't fair, but because I thought it was too hard. And I question that now, which is why it's here. Should we go harder with Minute Cryptic clues? And I kind of feel like sometimes we go hard and people don't like it. But then sometimes we get a lot of comments which are, how come I can do these clues, but then when I go to my local paper and try and do cryptic clues there, I can't do them. And maybe that's a sign. I mean, it says something about those publications to some degree, probably. But maybe we should lean into some harder clues. And so this is kind of a bit of a test run on that. Let me know what you think. But this does involve a bunch of stuff that you will see in other publications. Let's see how we go. I think there are three hard things about this clue. One is that it requires a substitution. You need to see a word or words and sub in another word for them, which I know people often find harder than pure kind of letter play. Another thing that's hard is that it has a letter play technique that's a bit tricky, that is just like requires a kind of left field perspective on it to make it work. And then the third thing is the definition. It's kind of a tricky definition that requires a bit of stretch. So there's a lot going on. Let's get into it. I want to start with the substitution, which is Christmas song. Christmas song, it's a lot of letters. There's no sense of how we can take those letters and make them shorter. So unless it's the definition, we're going to need to substitute it. In fact, if it is the definition, we need a substitute for our answer. So we should look at Christmas song and think, is there a replacement for that? And probably the most obvious replacement is carol. And carol is 5 letters. So if it is carol, Christmas song's not going to be our definition because we have an 8-letter answer. Carol won't work. But maybe we can use carol in the wordplay, and then we just need 3 more letters. And we'll get those 3 more letters from becoming useful. How could becoming useful give us 3 more letters? This is the tricky letter play aspect of this clue. It's indicating that carol will become full of use. We need to take USE from useful and fill carol with it. That's the tricky letter play that's going on. And that will mean some kind of revolving music player. And obviously the kinds of music player that come to mind are probably a turntable, a record player, a gramophone even, if we can reach for that. But it's none of those. If we take carol and insert use, we can get the word carousel, a revolving fairground ride that is known for playing music.